Welcome back. This is episode 3 of Sincere Milk and Solid Food, a part of a believer's ministry. I'm your host, Nyango. I am the baby of the family, but the big sister you didn't know you needed. I've been battling with what to name this episode. I have been leaning a lot towards self-confidence, but that did not carry the punch I needed it to carry. And so I've been trusting the Lord for a title. I've been, working with words, trying to, doing all sorts of things. But the title that I finally landed on is The Audit of the Soul and the High Value Believer. I heard that terminology, high value, but let me get into the meat of this episode and you're going to understand exactly why I called it that. Today we are putting away the gent on the gums plastic spoon, right? We are going to talk about a word that makes religious people uncomfortable: self-confidence. We've been taught that self is a bad word in church. But if you don't contend for your confidence, wisdom, and understanding, these will have nowhere to sit. If we don't contend for our confidence, then wisdom and understanding will be rootless in our life. If you don't trust the vessel God built, you will never trust the treasure He puts inside it. Grab your fork. We are going deep into the warehouse of the soul today. Years ago, someone looked me in my eye, right, and changed my life with one sentence or one statement. This person said to me, "I can tell you exactly how you feel about yourself by the type of men you date." And she said, "We date at the level of our self-esteem." That statement, that truth, hit me like a physical weight. That thought didn't just stay in my love life. It touched every corner of my existence. I started asking myself, am I accepting this job offer because I don't believe I deserve better? Am I staying in this toxic situation because I believe I'm low? At the core of every bad situation was a leak in my self-confidence. I had to mark where my levels were. I had to realize that if I don't trust my own value, I couldn't trust my own choices. And so I also want to add in the fact that we need to talk about the C word, not confidence, but confrontation. I had to sit with myself in the quiet parts of my warehouse, my mental warehouse, and ask a very painful question. It's a question I also want you to ask yourself right now. Are you actually non-confrontational, or are you just a strategic compromiser? Be honest with yourself. When you choose not to speak up, is it because you are kind, or is it because you've done the mental calculations and decided you fear them, or you might need that person down the line? Are you staying quiet because you're afraid that if you offend them, you will lose a bridge you might need to cross later? This is not peacekeeping. That is lack of confidence. If you believe you are a person who makes the right calls every single time, then you have to trust that if a bridge burns because you spoke the truth, you have the capacity to build a better one. When you compromise your integrity to keep a connection, you are telling God that that person's favor is more reliable to you than his provision. You are essentially saying, "Lord, I don't trust you to provide for me if I lose this person's approval." Stop calling your fear politeness. Stop calling your insecurity being easygoing. If you are holding your tongue because you are hedging your bets on a human being, you have moved out of partnership with God and into a transaction with man. A high-value believer doesn't need to collect people just in case. You are an asset. And by the way, when I say high-value believer, I'm not talking about vanities like money and all these things. I'm talking about a person who has got self-confidence in their decisions, and they take God seriously, and they have purposed it in their heart to serve God to the end, and so they carry themselves with that discipline and conscientiousness. So that is what I mean by high value believer. Yeah, so this person doesn't need to collect people just in case. They are the asset. They are the one with that Ivy League experience. If the situation requires a no, say it with your chest. Trust that your future is secured by your obedience to God, not by your ability to keep everyone happy. You will never consistently perform or receive above the level of your own self-valuation. If you think you are a penny believer, you will never reach for gold promises. You have to mark your levels. Do the work in marking your level. Know where your self-confidence is. I need that to be an assignment in whatever way that you're going to do it, do it. Buy the books, get the literature, go to YouTube, watch videos, pay for that course that helps you learn at what level you're operating at, because you cannot afford to go into your next season with the current mindset. And so you have to audit the internal price tag you've put on your soul. And again, when I talk about price, I'm not talking about actual money. It's about your self-evaluation. Where do you place it? Right? And so here is a confession that I want to actually make. That is probably going to make you choke on your meat. Like in my entire life, I have never made a single bad decision. Not a one. I know the religious brain wants to fight me on that. You're probably thinking about your mistakes, your failures, the times you went left when you should have gone right. But listen to me. Even when the outcome was terrible, the decision was the vehicle that delivered the lesson. No Ivy League education, no Harvard, no Oxford, whatever Ivy League schools exist could teach you the depth that only experience provides. My bad choices were my tuition. They taught me my parameters. I now know how I react under pressure. I know how much research I need to do for me to make any decision. Every single decision has got a certain amount of research I need to put into it. I know how my spirit speaks when a red flag is waving at me, right? If the outcome worked for my good, and Romans 8:28 says it must, then the decision was the right call. So stop apologizing for your past. Reconcile with the versions of you that made those choices. They were doing the best they could with the tools they had, and they brought you the wisdom you carry today. You are a graduate of the School of Experience. Start acting like an alumnus, not a victim. I don't want you to just feel better. I want you to be better. We are going to perform a warehouse audit right now with 3 specific pillars. Pillar 1, the relationship audit. Look at the last 3 people you allowed into your inner circle. If those people were the price tag on your soul, what is the dollar or pound amount? If you're surrounded by people who discount you, it is because you're running a clearance sale on your self-esteem. Stop the sale. Right now, stop the sale. Take off those sale tags. Take them down right now. Change the price tag today. My pastor has got this amazing saying. Thank you, Pastor Thomas. He always says, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And a truer word has never been spoken. Pillar number 2 is the decision audit. Take a piece of paper. On the left side, put the mistake. On the right side, put the Ivy League lesson. What did that failed situation teach you about your parameters? So on the left side, put that failed situation. On the right side, I want you to put the lessons that you learned, right? Did it teach you to trust your gut faster? Did it teach you resilience? You aren't recovering from a mistake. You're graduating from a lesson. And I want you to say it out loud. I didn't lose. I paid tuition. I didn't lose. I paid tuition. And pillar 3 is going to be the spiritual audit. Check your prayer language. A person with no self-confidence prays like a beggar. A person with high value confidence prays like an heir. If you don't trust your own judgment, you will never trust your ability to hear God. You will always be asking for a sign because you don't trust your receiver. For the next 7 days, I want you to speak to God as a partner of integrity. Stop begging for what is already yours. A person with high self-confidence would never partner with a liar. They would never sign a contract, with a flake. So if you have the confidence in your ability to choose what is good and you chose Jesus, then you made an excellent call. The excellent call. You aren't hoping God is real. You are in a partnership with a deity or God you believe in 100% because you believe in the you that chose him. You didn't just stumble into salvation. You evaluated the truth and you executed the decision. Now stand on that decision. Stop asking God to prove himself over and over because you're secretly afraid you made the mistake. You don't make mistakes. You make moves, excellent moves. And this was the best move of your life, bar none. This week, I'd like to encourage you to choose the fruit of faithfulness, specifically being faithful to the vision of you that God created, the vision of you that God saved, the vision of you that God is using. Go into your warehouse of memories and reconcile with your past. Tell that younger version of you made the right call for the person you were then. Once you trust your past, you have the confidence to dominate your future. My playlist obsession for this week is I'm So Blessed by Kane. Let the lyrics remind you of your value while you're out there being the high value partner God called you to be. Lord, I pray for the believer who has been living under the weight of regret. Lift the veil. Let them see their past not as a graveyard, but as a classroom. Restore the confidence of the chosen. Let them walk in the authority of someone who knows they are worth the blood of Christ. Amen. Stay in the word, stay in the work, and keep growing. God bless.